guys, Holding Alice with you here, bringing you Fairytail 100 Years Quest manga review. This chapter was chapter 20, titled The Heritage of Fire. This was a very interesting chapter, short and sweet. They got straight to the point. The dragon that saved Natsu last chapter revealed himself, and it looked just like Igneo, but it had like a fire pillar here coming out like hair, and these black markings over his body and cheeks, and like extra fangs coming out from his glands. And he was basically talking down on Natsu, saying, "You're a fire dragon. You shouldn't have, have a problem with this guy, even though fire magic is weak to water. It's pathetic that you're only losing to someone at half power," which shook up the whole Fairytail crew. They all got shook hearing that this dragon said that this guy is only at half, that the water god dragon is only at half power. So you have to think about it. As strong as they are, they can't do nothing to him, and he's only at half power. So imagine him at full power, or if they have to fight the other ones at full power. They technically have no chance power scaling wise. Of course, it's Fairytail though. They're gonna find a way to get around that and stuff like that. But as he talking down on them, he was like, he tries to like burn the war down, and he blazes it up so hot that his body heat is affecting the area in a bad way, and the water god dragon had to make it rain to stop him. And Natsu was like, "Stop messing with me," and he's trying to burn everybody down. And he's like, "Hey, look, Pipsqueak, I can help you out." And Natsu was like, "How are you gonna help me?" And he was like, "Here, you have to eat my flame." And he was like, "What?" And as you got in the thumbnail, we see this dragon go to a human, and he tells Natsu, "I am Ignea. I am the true son of Igneo." And that was the end of the chapter. Now, I'm going to talk about the end, of course, Ignea. Now, when he says that he's the true son of Igneo, this could mean one of three things. Number one, this could be his biological son. Number two, this could be his first dragon slayer. Because the dragons consider their dragon slayers the sons and daughters. Or three, which I'm hoping is not this one, but it could be a possibility because the last two arcs, this guy can actually be a clone off of Igneo's DNA. Because we know Zeref, he made all the demons off of human clones. That's why they had a human form and a demon form. And Lucard, Igneo, was also a failed experiment of his that was supposed to be like a stronger version of Natsu. So, but he was still a clone off of Natsu and Zeref. So, and he was acting like his son, but when he really wasn't, he was just a pathetic clone that Zeref didn't care for, even though he was one of his top 3 strongest men. But yeah, it could be one of those 3 situations. But the one that I'm leaning towards that make the most sense is that this could be Igneo's first student, because dragons don't have a human form unless they use magic to switch themselves to that, to make their bodies look human. So the fact that he had that proves that he was a dragon slayer, which means he was human, who later on became a dragon, like Irene, as his mother. So I'm leaning towards that more, because, we know that the dragons don't have a human form, so they would have to use magic on themselves if they want to transform into something, not just be able to turn into a human naturally. So the fact that he actually had a human form and showed himself, and then he said, "I'm Igneo's true son," that most likely is going to imply that he was actually the first one that Igneo taught. Which makes sense, because if you listen to Zeref's words, he did state that the dragons were planning a way to try to kill off, Actologia. So I highly doubted that Wendy and Gajia and Natsu were the first students they had. I wouldn't be surprised if they had other students, but they either just died or they turned tail. So, again, it could be any one of those 3 theories, but I'm going with the second theory, that this is the first dragon slayer that he raised, because it just makes more sense that way. But another thing I wanted to talk about was the fact that the God Water Dragon Slayer, the Water God Dragon, is only at half power, but he's not in the right mind. So maybe that's why he's only at full power. Maybe this is more of a thinking matter for him. Maybe his power is based off of more thought than it is physical strength. So since his mind is, being distorted, maybe that's why he's only at half power. Or maybe that's how the White Witch, Toka, makes you go crazy and to be able to take away your powers up and down by taking half of your core set power. Or it could just be something that's wrong with him, that's why he's sick, and maybe that's why he's going crazy. Besides Toka doing what she did to him. So that's another thing that I kind of found weird, is like he's only at half power and he's doing all this. Now this is only half power. I can only imagine him at full power. He could be able to drown places part of the world easily. We already know he's country level. Like, this dude can literally take a country and drown it easily. Or make it pour rain forever on it if he wanted to. So a full power one should be continental. Like, it's just power scaling of these god dragons are like way up there. Like, but again, it was a very interesting chapter. Short and sweet. It was only about, I think, 16 pages. If you don't count the cover page and ending page and all that. From the 20, then it was like about 16, 17 pages. Not long. Very easy to go through. It was more of the dragon breaking down Natsu and trying to build him up from that. So, and that cool panel of him trying to burn the whole world down and giving Natsu that speech. But yeah, chapter 20 was a great chapter. Can't wait for next week. I love Ignia's design. His design looks awesome. It's funny because his dragon mode looks like Ignio with black markings, but then his human form looked like Natsu with still those black markings, and I believe his hair is long. So, and who knows, maybe this guy's another Ignio. I mean, maybe he, a Dragneel. Maybe he's still related to Natsu's clan. Who knows? Maybe Natsu's clan actually worshipped the red dragons, and maybe that's how he got to know Ignio. His name is Zeref. Somehow this is gonna all tie in, especially with Toka, the white mage, who's the opposite of Zeref. Somehow his hero's gonna have to tie this in, but again, great chapter, great stuff. Can't wait to see what the other god dragons are. We already met fire and water. Now in the human form and dragon mode. Now we have to meet the other three. Not to mention, I still think the wizard that gave them this 100-year quest is shady. But that's all I have for you guys. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. Give this video a like. Share with your family and friends. Don't forget to hit the notification bell to get more. Tell me down below what you thought of the chapter. If you read it, if you have not read it, please read it. Great chapter. That's all I have for you.